Golden Girls are slept on.
Yeah, it's good.
The amount of double entendres, sexual references, and inappropriate things that they talked about and referenced in that show was so ahead of its time.
It's great that Cap is like 55 years old.
So did you watch Sex and the City too?
Hey,
No,
So why would you watch Golden Girls?
because it was the influencer. It was first.
Y'all ready for a hot take? Sex and the City is not that bad. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. I'm Pierce Simpson. We hope that you had a great weekend. On today's episode, we're going to recap the Boston Celtics Game 1 beatdown of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we're going to also look forward to tonight's game, the matchup between the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets. But first, I'm joined here by Complex Sports editor, Mr. Adam Caparell. Adam, last week you said you're taking like a sabbatical from betting. It's a new week. You back on?
No, we took Sunday off too, which is a good thing because I would have taken the Cavs.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So we'll get back. We're officially going to get back on the horse come Monday.
My brother Gilbert Arenas, what you got to say about that?
Why would you take the look? Okay, it's Sunday. I've told you this.
I know you're there. Yes.
Dog day. Whoever has that minus on a Sunday,
You fade.
you fade.
Yeah.
When I seen Cavs minus 1.5, I was like, oh shit, they might get their ass whipped.
But you know he doesn't listen. He just says, I'm going to go with this.
I have my own theories.
He ends up losing money. And then we're here and he's talking about all the money that he lost. But that was a great segue, talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers getting beat down on Sunday, because that's exactly what happened in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Boston. The Celtics blew out the Cavs, like I mentioned before, 108-83 to take a 1-0 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Brad Stevens started Marcus Morris and started Aaron Baines and tried to slow down LeBron James. Before the series, Marcus Morris talked confidently about being able to stop LeBron. He said, personally, I'm probably the best guy defending him in the league outside of Kawhi Leonard. Don't cue the camera to him.
I didn't say anything. I just got my head down and reading the quotes.
Yeah, and I misspoke a little bit. He started Marcus Morris, not Marcus Smart. Excuse me for that one. But LeBron, first half, 7 points, 7 assists, and finished with 15 points, 5 for 16 shooting, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 7 turnovers. His boy Kevin Love only provided 17 points. The Cavs shot 36% from the field. Jaylen Brown, who's emerged as one of the best perimeter players in the playoffs so far, 23 points, 8 rebounds, I believe 18 points in the first half. Marcus Morris, who did a great job defending LeBron James, also chipped in with 21 points and 10 rebounds. So, Gil, how did the Celtics thoroughly beat down the Cleveland Cavaliers? Is it Marcus Morris? Is he LeBron stopper like Ruben Patterson was the Kobe stopper?
I don't even know about it. What's so funny is now it makes me question the coach.
Tyronn Lue?
No.
Brad Stevens?
Why was Brown coming off the bench last series?
Jaylen Brown? He was nursing a hamstring injury. He missed Game 1 of the series against the Philadelphia 76ers.
And that made you sit him for the whole series?
No, he played a little bit.
No, I mean, you didn't start him.
You didn't start him, no.
He still saw major minutes, though.
He saw major minutes.
I know.
Came back Game 2, I believe. Yeah.
That's confusion. I'm really not worried about the Cavs. I'm just going to be honest, because I look at other stats of dominance, and the dominance on the Boston Celtics is not what, like, people looking at the score, but they're not looking at everything else.
Right.
Like, you didn't get to the free throw line at all.
Talking about the Celtics.
Yeah, you didn't get to the free throw line at all. You went 11 for 13, so it shows me that even during a beatdown, you're not getting to where you need to get to when the series gets close. So that means, to me, you guys don't really know how to get fouled. I mean, you guys got aggressive players, but you don't really know how to get in there. You know, Cavs shot their 20 free throws, which, you know, with the LeBron James who's playing coy right now, you know, his game ones are really. You remember even in Toronto, he had the triple-double, said, it wasn't a really good game for me. You know, it's one of those.
And they won
games.
Close. Like you said, filler games. I believe all of their Game 1 so far, either they lost or the margin was 2 or 3 points. The stat that stands out to me, like you mentioned, the Cavaliers had 0 threes made in the first half and finished 4 from 26 from the three-point line, which is atrocious. Adam, what did you see in the matchup that lets you know whether the Cavs are in trouble or the Celtics just got a lucky one?
I'm also with Gil. I'm also with LeBron when he said in the post-game conference where it's just like, do you have any concern about this? And he said 0. You know, about Game 1 affecting the rest of the series and about, you know, how setting the tone was a bad blah, blah, blah. The thing that jumped out to me was that I guess Boston did a good job initially making LeBron a jump shooter. Yeah. I think when he drove to the basket 3 times, and obviously you see LeBron be mad aggressive in Game 2, Game 3, Game 4 going forward. Yeah. Also just seemed like the energy in the first quarter, for some reason, it felt like the Cavs were just waiting for LeBron just to do everything and just like waiting around for him to start doing his magic and completely take over, and no one wanted to do anything whatsoever. And it just kind of felt like when LeBron wasn't like, you know, revving his engines and going, everyone else was like, whatever, and like just kind of mailed it in. So it just felt like there was, for whatever reason, it was shocking like how low energy, to use a Donald Trump fucking term right here, how low energy the Cavs were in Game 1. I don't know, maybe the time off was just like too much, or maybe they drank too much wine during it. I don't know, but they had low energy coming out of the gate.
They're waiting for the snake. They're waiting for the snakehead to do what he does. And what he's doing is trying to figure out, okay, what kind of defense are they playing? How does it look? So he had dropped a game one, not on purpose, but he's willing to not play as hard, but just not be so aggressive to see what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
You know, but they lose by 20, only 9 turnovers. I mean, they only had 9 turnovers.
What was
it's not like it's not like the defense was like really killing this team. It's just like
you had a term you used for LeBron in the Toronto series, like a feeler game. What'd you call it?
I call it a feeler game.
Yeah.
He just feels the games out. He wants to, because you got to remember, it's 7 games. You know, so if you're sitting there trying to beat him and you're not really, he's seeing, okay, I want to see when I drive who's coming, where's the double coming from, if there's a double coming from, how's Morris playing me one-on-one.
The only area of concern, though, I mean, again, for the most part, just going to chalk it up for a crappy game one. They just, for whatever reason, didn't come out with great energy. But they were a huge defensive mess. Yeah. The Cavs were atrocious defensively, and just, stop giving a damn on so many possessions. It was like it was stark in the second half. So that's the one.
When it comes to defense, I'm not really worried. It's their offense.
Right.
It's their
that gets them going.
And then it's like you got J.R. Smith who didn't hit shots, but they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. Switch their lineup. They went small, so that's what LeBron. You go small for me. I'll see you guys in game 2.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, George Hill,
40 with a triple double.
Yeah. George Hill, J.R. Smith, and Kyle Korver in the first half all were under double digits combined. So you never want to see that from 3 of your more prominent role players. But you mentioned LeBron James, and it's a filler game. LeBron James is known for his photographic memory. His former GM David Griffin went on the Bill Simmons podcast last week and talked about during the Eastern Conference Finals matchup against the Toronto Raptors. He told then player for the Toronto Raptors, Patrick Patterson, how to run a play. And his photographic memory was on full display after game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where a reporter asked him about a specific breakdown, and he provided this answer.
We ran him the first possession. We ran him down all the way to 2 on the shot clock. Marcus Morris missed a jump shot, followed it up. They got a dunk. We came back down. We ran a set for Jordan Clarkson, and he came off and missed it. They rebounded it. And we came back on the defensive end, and we got a stop. They took it out on the sideline. Jason Tatum took the ball out, threw it to Marcus Smart in the short corner. He made a 3. We come back down, missed another shot. And then Tatum came down and went 94 feet, did a Euro step, and made a right-hand layup timeout.
So like I mentioned before, his former GM last week said that he's pretty much a computer that's always learning, and broke down how he told Patrick Patterson to go to the right position. In this case, he recalled everything. If you're Coach Tyronn Lue and you have a player of this magnitude that's able to remember every nuance of the game, is it difficult to coach him? What's that like? I take that as a yes.
No, it would be difficult to coach him because he has a great memory. Like,
no, but if you can remember that, do you feel like he would, like, let's say, let's say.
Yo, did you wait?
No.
Wait. So you basically said.
Can I finish?
No. Tyronn Lue draws up a play.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, only LeBron's going to remember this. The other 4 won't.
No, what I'm saying.
It's hard to coach LeBron.
No, what I'm saying is, does he draw up a play in the huddle? LeBron sees it, and because he has this wealth of basketball knowledge and all this experience, he'd be like, no, that's trash. Let's do something else. Kind of like he did with David Blatt many times in the huddles when he was a head coach.
You know a play is trash anyway. That has nothing to do with like a memory. If a coach draws up a play, this is what we're going to do, and we're playing a game and we know that play don't work, like, no. Hey, yo, switch that shit. That shit is not going to work.
Right.
We've tried that out of timeout 42 times. Right. That's our number 1 time out of timeout play.
So it's a collaboration.
Yeah, but when you have a guy who can who memorize plays, stats, I mean, it shows that, he's accountable for the things, that he does on the floor when he does make a mistake because he remembers it. I mean, but you want a guy who can remember every detail about the game before and after. That means he is studying the game of basketball.
Yeah, it's almost like Tom Brady-esque. The fact that he can remember every situation, every player on the floor is pretty impressive. But, Kat, what did you make of that post-game press conference? LeBron was pretty much like a computer.
I have 2 observations from that press conference. 1, this is going to be a great GIF that's going to be used a million times over. And 2, I never noticed until now, but LeBron looks like Bernard from Westworld.
Is that?
It's startling right there.
It's startling how much?
Startling how much, yes. Similar hairline, too.
Can I say something? I have yet to see Westworld. Y'all are looking at me.
Get on it, pal.
You don't know? Okay.
I just ignored him.
He said I just ignored him. But great segue to LeBron's fire fit, because we're going to introduce fire fit and judge whether or not LeBron's glasses, how many fire emojis that deserves is fire fit. So, fellas, like we usually do, and like the Cavaliers have usually done this postseason, they rocked the Thom Browne suits, the full get-up throughout their entrance into the locker room and opposing arenas. LeBron rocked the glasses this time, a nice bag. Cap, I'll start it with you. How many fire emojis are we giving that outfit?
We're giving 5 fire emojis. Again, I love the Thom Browne suit. Love the fact that LeBron went with the 3-piece look this time.
Yes.
So always five fire emojis when you break out the Thom Browne suit.
Mr. Hibachi, what you going with?
5.
Hey.
5'5".
5'5"?
5'5". Did you see that bag, bro?
Lizard skin.
Lizard?
Lizard skin.
Oh, man, that's straight croc. That's expensive right there. That's about $20,000 a bag.
Wow.
You gotta have a few of those, right?
Wow.
No.
The IRS is watching
No,
it.
I just wanted to say, because usually the girls have that bag, but, you know, that metrosexual stuff is going on. So the guys get that bag.
It's a nice bag.
That's an amazing bag, though. I'm not even going to lie. That's a crock.
That's a wealthy bag.
You can bring that bag to out of bounds.
I'm still in that bag.
This might be out of bounds history, because I'm also going with 5 fire emojis and clean sweep. So
Clean sweep.
I like it.
History maker.
Okay, I'm with it. But
Like
Tristan Thompson might have had a better fit for his game one. He had the off-white ones. So
With the Thom Browne suit?
With the Thom Browne suit. It worked.
No, I don't think the sneakers work at the Thom Browne.
You're not rocking with it?
You need either really high lace-up boots or you need a really trim, low-cut
or a nice-ass bag that costs 20 G's.
Oh, that's it.
Do you like the bag, or do you like how much it costs?
The bag was nice.
It was nice. It was a nice bag. It was
money
nice.
green and everything.
Hey, it was a nice bag. But we recap the Cleveland Cavaliers and their beatdown on Sunday night at the hands of the Boston Celtics. But tonight, the Golden State Warriors travel to H-Town to take on the 1-seeded Houston Rockets. It'll be the matchup between Chris Paul and Stephen Curry. Chris Paul seemed to be a mentor for Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry talked about his relationship with Chris Paul, who mentored him prior to the 2009 NBA draft when he came out of Davidson. Curry said he was a great mentor when it came to understanding how a guy his level prepared over the summer for an NBA season. He demonstrated firsthand what it takes to be great in this league, and it was a nice little eye-opener for me that summer. Work out with him, compete against him, take that confidence I had into my rookie year to get off on a good foot. Chris Paul is making his first appearance in the conference finals throughout his career. Curry is trying to advance to the NBA finals for the 4th consecutive year in a row. Gil, you had a little history with Chris Paul prior to him coming to the draft in 2005. Seemed like he carried on that lesson of Stephen Curry. Will that mentor relationship impact them too going into this Western Conference Finals?
No, a mentorship, like when you're taking on, you know, a guy you see that has potential, it's usually for your rookie season. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to let him know, like, how a veteran's supposed to work out, how greats do work out. Right. And, you know, that's what, you know, Chris Paul instilled in, you know, Curry. And then once Curry got the foundation, then he builds his own summer, you know, regimen knowing what Chris Paul taught him.
Yeah, that's respect. Cap, what do you think? Do you think it will alter the series in any way?
No, I mean, it's a subplot. It's something to talk about leading into the series, and it's cool to kind of reminisce about the relationship. But in the grand scheme of things, no, Chris Paul is going to be the dog, you know, the doggy dog. I'm going to take on everybody and want to, you know, cut your throat. And again, we kind of joked around about it, but, you know, he is the asshole on the basketball court. Yeah. With all due respect, I mean that, you know, as
affectionately as possible.
Affectionately, extremely possible. Yeah. So it's going to be the two of them going at it. No love lost whatsoever. And I don't think that any past relationship is going to come into play and be something that's going to hover over these two and be a important plot line throughout the series.
I mean, we saw it in the series previously where Chris Paul alluded to Donovan Mitchell being like his little brother, and they had a nice embrace after the Houston Rockets wrapped up the series, and Chris Paul did not take it easy on the Utah Jazz in any way, shape, or form. And I believe he dropped 40 in one of the games along with 10 assists.
And let's also, again, remember the Warriors-Clippers, you know, fights, essentially. I mean, those series for a few years ago were rough.
Yeah.
So, Curry and CP3, it's not going to be a love fest in any way, shape, or form on the court, that's for sure.
Yeah, but Stephen Curry missed 15 games that kind of lasted into the playoffs. He came back the previous series against the New Orleans Pelicans, picked up right where he left off. Where do we see these two in like their roles in this series? Do we think that Chris Paul will play a bigger role than Stephen Curry?
Chris Paul has to play a bigger role.
Because he doesn't have the other horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, he has to will, if he wants to win this series, he has to will his talent onto the series. I mean, he has to bring that dog energy. Yeah. He has to control the floor defensively and offensively if he wants to beat the Warriors. Steph just has to go out there and just do what Steph does.
Yeah, exactly.
And who's been the more reliable sidekick for their team? KD's been performing pretty much every single night. Yeah. We've seen Harden struggle a little bit in in the series, especially against the Jazz. So Harden's coming in off of 2 relatively mediocre performances for his standards. Yeah. CP3 we saw have that awesome Game 5 against the Jazz. So yeah, the burden's going to be completely on him to elevate his game.
That's the funny part.
What?
Steph Curry is the sidekick to Kevin Durant.
Oh, hot takes.
Well, all right.
Oh, you walked into it.
But isn't CP3 the sidekick to James Harden?
Yeah.
2-time NBA MVP sidekick. That's tough.
I mean, when you have
but when you have the second best.
But I don't think Curry cares.
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
And then you still got Klay Thompson.
See, that's the tough part. It's like you can
neutralize those 2, and they still got Klay.
Yeah, like you can wash out the 2 top, like the 2 alpha dogs on both teams, whether it's Stephen Curry and KD, James Harden and Chris Paul. But like you said, you still have Klay Thompson. You still have Draymond Green, who's been playing well as of recent. He almost had a triple-double.
That's what I said. No one's going to match because you got their third. Golden State's third option actually is the number 1
shooter. Klay Thompson. Yeah.
Klay takes the most shots.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys are focusing on these 2, and this guy, if he catches fire, this shit is over.
It's almost tough that you have to account for the 3-point shooting from the likes of Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, and the defensive prowess of Clint Capella to account for Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and what they'll provide on both ends of the floor. So it's an uphill battle for the Houston Rockets.
Well, I mean, listen, a Gordon, CP3, Harden lineup is an offensive juggernaut and can give teams fits. But obviously on the defensive end, the defensive end of the side, it's going to be a nightmare too. So it's how long can D'Antoni actually use that lineup without getting buried on the defensive end?
And also my question too for you, Gil, is the Golden State Warriors are a sneaky long team, right? You have Klay Thompson, who's 6'7", you have KD, who's 7 feet. Draymond Green's a long 6'6", and Stephen Curry's 6'3". So if you play the lineup like you said with Houston, where it's Eric Gordon, Chris Paul, and James Harden, your tallest guy in the backcourt.
But what ends up happening is when Golden State goes small, they're not small. Yeah. They're still huge. So what ends up happening is you're trying to match, and you just lose so much height trying to match that team when you think about who they are as shooters. So I mean, PJ Tucker is like the same height as stuff.
I was waiting.
He's the same height as Chris Paul, and he's had to stick Kevin Durant. I'm just saying.
Early last week, he was 6'6". By Thursday, he was 6'4". Today, he's Chris Paul's height.
Yeah, he's Chris Paul's height. I'm just saying, we'll see.
Game 1 tonight.
Oh, the PJ Tucker slander. We'll continue for the next one.
I always got to pick one guy to go at.
One guy to go at.
Yeah. All right. Switching gears over to the Eastern Conference. 2 days after Dwayne Casey was named Coach of the Year, the Raptors fired him. Was Toronto fair or foul for giving him the boot? So on Friday, the Raptors got rid of Casey, obviously a few days after the Cavs swept his team out of the playoffs, and LeBron responsible for that for another season. Casey was named Coach of the Year by his fellow coaches. All 30 coaches, or all 29 head coaches, I should say, voted for him. And obviously took home the award because the Raptors set a franchise record for wins with 59 in the regular season, earned the East #1 seed in the conference, and then all for naught and got blown out and swept out of the playoffs at the hands of LeBron. But during his stint there, Casey set franchise records, and he is essentially the most successful coach in Toronto history through 7 seasons, posted a 320 and 238 record, won 4 Atlantic Division titles, and had 3 straight 50-win seasons. And on Saturday in the Toronto Star, they featured a letter from Casey where he thanked the Raptors fans for their support over the years and about teaching Americans and his family about, the Canadian way of life and their politeness and embracing and the celebration of everything that came about with the Raptors. He said this in the piece, quote, "Thank you for teaching our all-American family the Canadian way. That being polite and considerate to one another is always the best way. That diversity is something to be embraced and celebrated. That taking the time to learn about each other's cultures is the surest way to find common ground and understanding." So nice words from the coach, but you still got canned.
Yeah, exactly.
So question here, fair or foul for the Raptors to get rid of their most successful coach in history after their most successful season in franchise history?
Foul.
Exactly.
Why?
This says a lot about the rest of the coaches.
What does it say?
He's not safe. None of you motherfuckers. And that's the sad part about being a coach is me and my staff is prepping all day long, but if the players are not receptive of it, or they just don't care, how is a coach getting penalized for it? And that's the only thing about it. You're penalizing a coach because the players didn't come out and perform. Yeah. The game plan is fine, But if
They won you 59 games.
if DeMar just wants to shoot mid-range jump shots, no matter how many times I tell him to drive, how is that my fault?
Right.
I get that essentially, but you also understand you playing the league, it is a players' league. And what is it easier to do? Is it easier to get rid of your star players and completely blow up the roster? Or is it easier to get rid of the coach and try something a little bit different?
And that's the thing. I want to know the reason he got fired.
Well, what do you think the reason is?
Probably the players says, I'm tired of him right now. I mean, usually, I'm pretty sure that the stars on the team says we can't play for him anymore.
Well, we obviously
and that's why we gave up.
We obviously saw the situation with DeRozan in Game 4. We sat down. Well, we got ejected, but previously sitting in the fourth quarter and kind of being marginalized a little bit and having to answer that. My take in this is that it's fair because, again, you have so much invested in DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and other guys. Yes, someone has to take the blame, and it sucks that Dwayne Casey's taking the blame, but he's walking away with $6.5 million not to coach next season. And again, it's a players' league. The players are going to win out. They have the power. They have the authority. They have the influence. So you're calling foul. I'm calling fair. Pierce?
I'm calling completely foul on this situation because, listen, he went against LeBron James, right? At this point, we're comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. Sometimes you just run into immovable objects where you can't beat them. And also, I'm hearing that the leader in the clubhouse for the favorite of Toronto Raptor head coaching is Mike Budenholzer. He's 0-8 against LeBron James in the playoffs. So how you gonna go from Dwayne Casey to a guy that's 0-8 and just led the Atlanta Hawks to one of the worst records in the NBA? Like, is he gonna come in and fix things? And then also, too, how about Kyle Lowry show up in the playoffs? It's been consecutive years where he struggles in the playoffs. How about he show up? But no, you give him $30 million a year. I'm sorry.
It's one of those things as an organization. If you're going to trade Lowry or DeMar in the next 2-3 years, then firing the best coach you've had
Ever.
is stupid.
Stupid.
Like, I mean, if these are your guys long term, like we're gonna sign these both to another contract after their contract is up, and they don't like this coach, then yeah, you got to get rid of the coach. But if you don't really have nothing invested in Lowry and DeMar for the long term, then what you want is a good coach who knows how to coach players. Because you can find any smojo in the NBA that can average 20 points.
But Cap, it's like you said it's a players' league, which is fair. But I think this is a systemic issue where we have players who aren't quite on superstar status feeling like they can pull shots in organizations. Like we saw a good coach in David Fizdale not get along with Marc Gasol, and he got shipped out. And look, now he's coaching your New York Knicks, and hopefully he can bring them from the graveyard wherever they're at.
So you want to stick the blame on the front office?
You're just gonna ignore the slander that I gave your New York Knicks just now.
They deserve all the slander, so it's fine.
No, you don't put it on the front. I mean, yes, the front office. I mean, you guys are. I mean, this is a quick firing too. Like Jesus Christ.
But we all kind of expected it, though.
But it's not.
We expect it because they got.
So here's the next question I have for Dwayne Casey is obviously a highly respected coach, won Coach of the Year, again best coach in the Raptors history. Who has the better future? Dwayne Casey going someplace else, or the Raptors going forward as they currently are consistent?
The Raptors?
Casey, no. Have you seen their cap situation?
Have you seen that they're a franchise?
He's thinking about money. I'm thinking.
They're a franchise. No matter what, they're still going to be there.
Just own the court play.
Dwayne Casey might not get another job.
He's going to get another job.
It depends.
Yes.
It depends. I mean, it all depends on what did the players say. What are the players saying? Like, what is the real reason he got fired? Because there's great coaches like, hey, how come he doesn't have a job anymore?
He's going to get another job. All right.
Scott Skiles can get another job.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, but the players,
guys.
but sometimes the players exile coaches.
All right, I get that. You're going to have a stigma attached to you. But real quick, you have to get to this absurdity. TMZ caught up with the one and only Meta World Peace and asked him about Drake. Yes, Drake, the MC that I apparently hate and slander on the regular, being the next coach of the Toronto Raptors. And Meta World Peace had this to say, quote, if he had the right staff, he would be a good coach. If he had the right staff, he could do it. He could do it. He should do it. Yeah, he should do it. I think he could do it. Do we want to call foul on that?
Sounds like a Gatorade commercial.
I want to do it.
Do you want to hand wave that one?
Let's do it together.
It's all hand wave Drake coaching the Raptors.
Get out of here.
Get all the way the hell out of here with him behind on the
Drake
bench.
don't have the time to coach no Raptors.
Supposed to be taking a massive pay cut.
Yeah, talk about
Massive.
Gigantic pay cut. Yeah.
Massive.
You can't be dropping bars about your players. Like that ain't gonna work. Freestyle about DeMar DeRozan.
Slandering your 12th man. Yeah.
It's like DeMar goes 4 for 22 and you drop bars on him. No, I can't have that.
Go in the studio.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I've got this diss track.
All right, keeping it moving and keep it locked in the Atlantic Division. Sixers coach Brett Brown said that his team needs more help to win a championship, but what help does he actually need? So in a season-ending news conference, Browne told the media that, quote, at some point when time is right, I think we need help to win a championship. If that's the goal, and for me and us it is, then that's the answer I give. So there's a few things, and obviously a ton of rumors about what the Sixers may or may not do. LeBron's obviously one person that gets mentioned as a potential addition, because if the Sixers are creative with their cap space, get rid of a few guys like J.J. Redick, or Sonny Ilyasova, Marco Bellinelli, Amir Johnson, they could create enough space up to $25 million, maybe even a little bit more if they get really, really creative, to bring in at least one high-end free agent superstar status like a LeBron or a Paul George. So when asked about teaming Ben Simmons with another ball-dominant player, a la LeBron, Browne kind of tiptoed around it but had this to say, quote, if this player you're describing was great, we'd figure it out. Truly, we would figure stuff out. I kind of think that's bullshit, but you kind of have to say that in the grand scheme of things. And there's also, a question of, would the Sixers be willing to add one or two superstars to push them over the luxury tax? And there, one of the co-managing partners, Josh Harris, said this, quote, people have asked me about the luxury tax. I don't have any problem spending for good players. Yeah. So Philly's got a few things to figure out. They obviously need some more help, especially scoring, to push them over the top in the Eastern Conference if LeBron's going to stay in the Eastern Conference and with Cleveland. But who would be the best pickup for Philly? Would it be LeBron? Would it be PG? Would it be Kawhi? Would it be somebody else?
If I have to pick one?
You got to pick one, yeah.
Okay, then I go with Paul George.
Why?
Because he's also a two-way player, but he's actually an offensive juggernaut. Yeah. He has the one-on-one skills. He can hit the open shot. He can create his own shot. So I will go with him, to add with what Philly has. They have a point guard who's going to pass the ball, who's willing to pass, and you have a big man who needs to be doubled. So you add that with Paul George, you have an amazing 76ers team.
And you've been pretty adamant, on the show, behind the scenes to us about how the idea of teaming LeBron and Ben Simmons is a terrible idea.
Yeah, because if you're calling Ben Simmons the next LeBron, that means he's a three-man that has to have the ball because he's a point guard. So the fact that you have Ben Simmons or LeBron sitting in the corner waiting for someone to create action seems stupid and pointless. So if LeBron has the ball, now you have Ben Simmons in the corner who can't shoot, doing what? Being atmosphere, like the playing in the club. I mean, so that is the worst person for 76ers in Ben's development. And you're going to have to play both of them. So the fact that Ben will be pushed to the side because of LeBron, or LeBron's getting pushed to the side because of Ben,
I completely agree with Gilbert Arenas about Paul George being the perfect fit for this Philadelphia 76ers team. We saw them against the Celtics. I think the issue that they ran into, they didn't have enough players that can get their own shot off the dribble. There's pin downs to get J.J. Redick open, to get Bellinelli open. You need guys that can go get you a bucket at any point in time. And it's like you said, you were confused why they didn't play Fultz. But instead of teaming him up with like Kawhi Leonard, I think C.J. McCollum would be a great addition to that Philadelphia 76ers team. You won't have to give up damn near as many assets to get Kawhi Leonard. You slide C.J. at the 2. You let Ben run point. You got Paul George. Think about two wings with C.J. McCollum and Paul George. You can even slide Fultz in there and put Ben Simmons at the 4 along with Embiid, and you have one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
So you're advocating go get Paul George in free agency.
And
then figure out a way to get C.J. McCollum.
And take that I would say right now it's about 7 or 8 in the lottery. Trade that to the Portland Trail Blazers, who had an unimpressive showing in the playoffs. They might try to break up that team. Trade them that draft.
Does that mean you're getting rid of Fultz?
No.
Who are you sending away? Who are you sending away to
You're just sending that draft pick, because I think Portland at this point is looking to revitalize that franchise in any way, shape, or form. There was even a report about the LaMarcus Aldridge wanting to go back to Portland. So even talked to Dame Lillard about going back to Portland before Greg Popovich convinced him to stay in San Antonio. I think that team in Portland is looking to get rid of people, so go get CJ.
All right, so Gil, if the Sixers pick up, again, hypothetically say Paul George, because we all agree that he's probably the best fit for them, does Philly now become like the in vogue destination for the aging vets to attach their wagon to and try to win a championship? A la what we saw like Miami and the Warriors and like the Spurs over the years.
No.
As long
as LeBron's in the East.
Yeah.
Stay all the way out of
Real talk.
The vets is following LeBron. That's just facts.
LeBron is ruining lives. He's getting people fired.
Let's just be honest.
He is actually.
He's ruining lives.
No one's going to Philly. I'm just gonna break the. No one's going to Philly, people. Okay, I've said it from the beginning. Philly is not a city where big free agents are gonna sign to. Yeah. Flat out, it's not like Paul George is not gonna say, "Oh, I can go to L.A. Lakers or I can go to Philly." That's not gonna happen. You're gonna get either mid-level guys that's willing to come there and play, or you're going to have to overpay for players like,
That's always bad news.
giving J.J. Redick $23 million this year. Those are the players you're going to get. Either you're going to overpay for talent, or you're going to get someone who's willing to. You're not going to get stars.
But is that because stars don't want to go to a team where they already have 2 established young stars? Is that what it is?
It depends on where you are in your career.
Gotcha.
Like Paul George is trying to get back his image. He's trying to get back to show the world that he's a star again. So the fact that he was forced to sit behind, Russell, he's not going to do it again. Not right now. With the injury in the Olympics, going back the. Indiana, trying to get his career back. Yeah. He's going to go somewhere where he's going to be the man and he's going to shine. Give him 3-4 years, and he'll try to win a championship.
Real quick question: Is Paul George underrated offensively?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
I feel like he has the persona as being this great defensive stopper. I think people don't realize how.
And that's the problem, that he's been in these small markets.
Pick and roll.
He's been in these small markets where no one really got to see him. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's going to end up in Los Angeles.
Because
Kawhi, either he's going to go to New York or he's going to just stay home.
Or is he trying to force the Spurs to give him that supermax?
They're not going to give him that supermax. No. Not this summer.
Maybe
they're going to. If this summer, you got to remember, he didn't make it this year. Next year, he has to play his way out.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make an All NBA team, he's not going to be the double supermax.
Yeah.
Or he's not going to be supermax. He's just going to be regular max.
And I love how I threw out that name. Now, I wouldn't say in the green room, but I dropped C.J. McCollum. When I become a GM.
That was a good. That
was a swerve.
Hey, you can get them for cheap. Pennies on the dollar right now. But again, game 1 tonight, Golden State Warriors, Houston Rockets. Must watch. Who you picking in game 1? Nervous? Who you picking in game 1? Ooh, that means you like Houston a lot.
I know. I mean, only because it's game 1, and usually game 1, the home team.
Are we sweating the fact that James Harden has kind of been shaky these last few games?
No.
Cap, what you going with game 1 tonight?
Give me the Warriors plus 1.5.
See, he's already not picking. Just give me a flat-out pick.
They have the Warriors plus 1?
Yeah.
Houston.
Okay. Is that good or bad? I'm new to this betting stuff.
Plus 1. That means since everyone knows Golden State is the favorite to win the championship, that if there's a line that says plus 1 on the Warriors, the whole fucking country's about to take it.
That makes sense.
That means Vegas has Golden State getting their ass mollywopped.
I agree with his logic. I'm doing a double reverse psychology right there. So sticking with the Warriors.
And to our out of bounds family out there, if you end up betting on this game and losing everything, do not blame.
I'm not responsible.
Don't blame us. If your wife leaves, don't blame us.
Don't blame him. But I just told you, Vegas wants you to bet the Warriors heavy because it's a great bet.
Yeah.
Knowing that they want Houston to win this.
Yeah, we'll see. But
that was just like the -1 for Cavs. Oh my God, everyone flew on that. Everyone flew.
But for Adam Caparell, Mr. Gilbert Arenas, I'm Pierce Simpson. This wraps up the latest edition of Out of Bounds. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is when you bet. I bet over and unders on stuff like this right now. What's the over under?
So the over under for this game is 223.5.
Under.
I would lean towards under in this game.
Yeah.
First game, feeling it out, each other like,
I'm gonna start this football season.
But the problem I don't like with Golden State.
Careful with that.
Yeah, I know.
The problem I don't like Golden State on the road is they play circus basketball.
You like them better at home.
For unders.
You say they play more defense at home.
They play more defense at home. On the road, they shoot way more. They shoot. They're almost double.
They're just running, gunning.
It's like they're trying to shoot you out your own arena.
Gotcha.
Like the rock stars. Like we're just
obviously.
But that was their 2000, that first championship, second.
Yeah.
But I always feel like sometimes the game 1s in these big, pressure situations where you have these 2 top teams and all this attention, like you have a little bit of nerves. And again, if you get a 1 or 2 minute stretch, especially late, and you get a really close game with the pound the ball into the floor for the final 3 minutes, then you're probably gonna hit the under pretty easily.